It's been a great first year for the Elizabeth line after waiting a long time for this transformational piece of infrastructure. We've really seen Londoners and visitors to London really take the line to heart. So since its opening, we've had in excess of 150 million journeys on the Elizabeth line. We've seen numbers of riders at stations like this, Farringdon, almost double compared to what we had previously. And each weekday we're seeing around about 600,000 passengers making use of the Elizabeth line. Providing a transport network that is accessible to all Londoners and visitors to London is a significant sort of objective of Transport for London. This year we're celebrating the 160th anniversary of the Tube network, and whilst engineers at that time did an absolutely fantastic job in creating a network that we still rely heavily upon today, accessibility unfortunately wasn't at the top of their agenda, and that is why it's so critical that as we add new infrastructure and new capacity to the network, that it is step-free and provides inclusive design in the broader sense as well. So the Elizabeth line is fully accessible along its 41 stations, and in particular in these new central London sections we provide step-free access from street to train. Also, lots of innovation needed to take place, not just your standard lifts, but at locations again like here at Farringdon, an incline lift that couldn't have been imagined by those engineers more than a century and a half ago, but just goes to show the way that we need to really think hard about how we provide access to people that are using the network today, but critically to future generations as well.
My name is Sascha Brozek. I'm working in KONE, the global elevator and escalator company, and I'm in charge of what is called major projects. Accessibility is becoming more and more important in public transportation. It covers on one side people with disabilities, but also people with families, baby strollers, heavy luggage while commuting. So the design concept or step-free access, or partly even barrier-free access, is very important. So this station is actually quite deep underground. I would assume around about 50 meters. And the reason is there have been other lines on top of it. And so we have these two escalator connectors and the two inclined lifts, which bring us then back up ground. It goes more or less the same speed like the escalator next door, which is between half a meter or 0.75 meters a second. So the real workhorse in moving people in the metro station are actually the escalators. Of course, we can move 100 people in a minute up now. The lifts and the inclined lifts have obviously much lower capacity. From a people moving perspective, here we can have 17 people maximum, and the round trip time is 2 minutes. So we need the combination of both the lifts for accessibility and the escalators for moving the people and managing the capacity. We have provided 49 monospace lifts to Crossrail for the 10 new stations, plus 4 what we call inclined elevators. So inclined elevators don't move vertical, they move diagonal. The same inclination like the escalators next to it. And the advantage here, it supports extra accessibility for people which have luggage, bicycles, or are disabled people. So it's part of the accessibility for the Elizabeth line. I think the engineering concept is not new per se. It's like a tram in the mountain, but it has been used in selected metro stations and has to be planned from an early stage of both accessibility but also the construction processes. So we have provided inclined lifts also in Stockholm or in Helsinki Metro, for example. Exactly. So people with disabilities, they might travel in a group and they need to use the elevator, but the other part of the group can use a traditional escalator, so the group stays together. There's a second aspect which is more commercial. Depending on the ground and the construction environment, it might be better to build an inclined lift versus a vertical lift, depending what's on top of that station. This has been one of the design conversations here for the Farringdon station. Once the Elizabeth line went into operations a year ago, it's about maintaining and keeping the uptime for the rolling stock, actually all the equipment, including the lifts. We provide here 99.6% uptime, so this means nearly uninterrupting. And our service technician and maintenance technician have to do then the works overnight, maintenance, inspection, repairs, so that the flow in London is not interrupted. Public transportation is the lifeblood for cities, and we actually have recently published a new report with UITP, that's the International Association of Public Transport, together with KONE, about the stations of the future. So using intelligence, artificial intelligence, accessibility also, and in that sense Elizabeth Line is definitely a great example of stations of the future with regard to accessibility.
Public transport works sort of hand in glove with what we're trying to do to increase the number of people that are walking and cycling within the city as well. Obviously, your first and last miles are often taken on foot or on a cycle hire bike. So finding ways that all sustainable modes can knit together to provide journey options to Londoners is critically important, so that we can seek to address toxic air pollution that blights many cities, so that we can play our role in tackling the climate change emergency, and so that we can also make sure that the roads are decongested, so that for those vehicle trips that do need to take place on our road networks, they can do so in an efficient way.